Meredith is a 40-year-old woman who experienced a right-sided stroke 5 years ago and has since been unable to recover the ability to move her left upper and lower extremities. One day, Meredith tells me, her community occupational therapist, that she would like to play a hockey game against her son on her PlayStation 4, but hasn't been able to use a standard controller. She has tried commercially available adaptive controllers, but they have not worked for her. Meredith has expressed that she is open to using adaptive controllers that involve one-handed use. Given this information, I identified that the occupational performance issue to be: Meredith has difficulties playing video games using standard controllers or commercially available adaptive controllers due to the inability to use both hands. These are all the different one-handed controllers available. Upon further research and analysis, here are some advantages and disadvantages of these controllers. However, these controllers tend to have one or more of the disadvantages listed, which have interfered with Meredith's ability to play video games. Since these existing controllers do not meet Meredith's needs, I decided to create a controller that overcomes these disadvantages. To accomplish this, I will need to collaborate with other team members. The team members that will be involved at each step listed are: Meredith, as it is she who knows her abilities, skills, desires, and preferences best. Me, her OT, as I have the critical thinking skills, previous experience, evidence, and theoretical frameworks to help consider the best fit between Meredith, the activity, and the assistive technology in her given context. A rehabilitation engineer to create, design, adapt, evaluate the assistive technology in mind for Meredith. And lastly, Meredith's family as her support network, although it will depend on whether or not Meredith would like or require their support. This is how a standard controller is held normally. As you can see, at least 4 fingers are required to be used. The use of most of these buttons and thumbsticks are necessary to be able to play video games properly due to the high number of functions each button has. Here are the controllers for both offense and defense when playing a hockey game on PlayStation 4. Nearly all the buttons on the controller have a function during both offense and defense. Therefore, it is important that the adaptive controller have at least the same number of required buttons or thumbsticks as a standard controller, so that all the functions required to play the game are available to the user. To achieve Meredith's goal, I came up with the concept of creating a hybrid controller between a computer mouse and a video game controller. The mouse will be modified to have all the buttons that can be found on a game controller to allow users to have full experience when gaming. The device will have a thumbstick and analog buttons that are controlled by the thumb during gameplay, as well as 3 small buttons with functions similar to the share, options, and start button on the standard controller. This aerial view of the mouse shows 4 buttons on the far left, which are equivalent to the triangle, square, X, and circle buttons on the PlayStation 4 controller, and it will be controlled by the index finger. To its right, there will be another thumbstick that will be controlled by the middle finger. Finally, the buttons on the farthest right side of the mouse show the L12 and R12 buttons that will be controlled by the ring and pinky finger. Using the concept of a mouse allows for an ergonomic one-handed controller, which uses all 5 fingers during gameplay. The button and thumbstick positioning will be tested and modified accordingly to allow for comfortable and effective use. Since there are no problems noted with Meredith's right hand and arm, the movements required when using the controller are voluntary, isolated, reliable, accurate, and requires low effort. This device will not require any mounting. However, Meredith will require a stable, firm, and flat surface in which she can rest her right elbow, forearm, and hand as she operates the device to allow for optimal body positioning and subsequent performance. The device provided will run on rechargeable batteries and have a Bluetooth function which allows the device to be wireless. By creating this device and allowing for the same button and thumbstick options, this device will be compatible with other gaming consoles such as Xbox. I received validation for my idea by verifying my concept with an avid gamer in the community and my peers who identify as gamers but specialize in occupational therapy. As you can see, everyone provided enthusiastic support. As I near the end of the steps in the provision of assistive technology, I consider several outcome measures that I can use to evaluate the intervention. I can use a Canadian occupational performance measure to evaluate the effectiveness of assistive technology for improving participation in client goals. The Goal Attainment Scale to evaluate if the device resulted in better than expected or worse than expected outcomes in gaming. The Quebec User Evaluation of Satisfaction with Assistive Technology to evaluate user satisfaction with the device and service delivery. And clinical observation to evaluate the fit between the activity, the assistive technology, and the client in a given context. Hopefully, these measures provide information as to whether the device helped Meredith overcome her occupational performance issue.